Well, we just finished watching Scream 3, me for the
Yeah,
first time, him revisiting.
yeah,
I enjoyed that far more than I thought I would with this series. I thought that by the third one I'd just be like, oh, they're like gonna meta reference themselves to into a grave and it'd just be annoying, but this was entertaining. I like this.
yeah. You liked it a lot more than a lot of people. It seemed like you like it as the films progress. You like the characters. You enjoy a lot of things that especially the commentary with Hollywood, especially the character whose name I forget, like the director or
Yeah.
no, the producer, the executive producer who
Hmm.
was basically the person who made Marine Prescott or Marine
Yeah, made the mom famous. Yeah.
yeah, like her name was Reynolds, which was a commentary on Debbie Reynolds, who
Yeah.
that reveal. Debbie Reynolds is Carrie Fisher's mother, which was kind of funny. Carrie Fisher has a cameo in that,
Right.
which is really cool. I was like, hey, look at that! Isn't that kind of funny?
Yeah.
Um, was it Renee Reynolds?
I don't remember specifically.
Yeah, but the point is though that this was more of a commentary on Hollywood, especially with the specific producers. Ironically,
Yeah,
who
we
were
I
involved in this.
instantly was like, "Oh no, the Weinstein, the island. Oh no." And then Justin gives me the bombshell of guess who produced the movie Scream 3? Oh no.
No, guess who produced all of these? The
Or all
Weinsteins
them. The
and Miramax.
Weinsteins. What the fuck?
And it's like Wes Craven himself was calling out Harvey Weinstein before he was even
There's
outed,
there's
which
there's a
was
particular line when they're confronting the top director guy, like the
oh,
old
John
man.
Milton. Yes.
When they're confronting him, he was like, the things that they made that woman do. It's just like, changed her after, and it was like, what the fuck? And then the main serial killer in this is like, yeah, she's fucked 3 ways till Sunday. Said, it's just like, okay, a little too close to reality here, I guess. With this one, holy
It
shit,
was
this is over 20
very
years ago. It was only 20 years ago. What the shit? The like the direct parallels, and there's a line, I forget who said the line in the film, but they're like, pop culture today is the politics of tomorrow. And it's like
yeah.
that is literally reality right now. I don't know. The concept of the Scream films was
Mhm.
just they are just so much within their own meme, and they just keep on making movies.
Yeah.
That was my concept of it before actually watching these. So third one in, I'm fucking hooked. I'm loving this shit. It's more complex than I was giving it credit for. It's not as
I'm
goofy
telling
with
you.
it as other things are. There's a lot more complexities to it than I could give it credit for. And the character stuff in it, though some of it is goofy, is still actually good, like character work and development, better than a lot of modern ones today that are just total dog shit. Like
And this is
She
a
Hulk has
slasher
nothing
horror
on
movie.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm looking at like She Hulk or something where it's like, God, those aren't even people. But like this oddly enough, even the goofy characters are definitely characters. Like they're definitely
Yeah.
stuff going on here. Even like the actress that was playing Sydney for the Stab movie in it, like, she's like seems like the meek, innocent one, and she's kind of like, I didn't fuck the director, so I can be with this, hack 2-bit things, whatever. Oh, fuck, and she's trying to leave, and then gets killed. But it was like, okay, that's didn't see that one coming. All right,
And she
shit.
wanted to take things from the set because that's the only role that she would ever get, and the only reason
Yeah.
that she got it was because she fucked the director
Yes.
of 50,000 people.
Oh man, this was just a good one. And the way it started too, starting with Cotton, the connecting threads between the films. Like, there's so many things that I think would be dropped in a different sequel. Like, I'm trying to think of specifics. It's hard to think of them all on top of my head directly, but like, I feel like in the Jaws movies, don't they kind of drop like connecting threads? Like, they don't have as many good connecting threads the further they go.
Yeah, yeah. With 1 and 2,
One and
they
two, they were
have a
pretty tight.
lot.
they're pretty tight, 1 and 2,
and
and then
then
it's
2
just
and 3, it just drops.
pretty
Yeah.
much. And then I'm trying to think of like Chucky. I think in Child's Play they did directly connect, sort of, but the threads I don't think were connected well. It was just, oh, we're gonna remake the doll, and then the doll's gonna try to kill him
Mhm.
again. It's like that's not really helping
That's not
anything
fun.
or building the world here or anything. This you're learning a lot more, and even with the was it Randy is the character
Mhm.
that you like? His meta stuff of like this is how movies work, and we're in the trilogy, and he like they're literally watching a videotape he left just in case he died, and had his sister show the Sydney and all them in the like that's already just kind of funny in and of itself. But it like that's there for the audience and for the characters in the film, and seeing what people do as it progresses with that. I don't know, that I find that as an interesting move for a director to make in
Mhm.
your story, because they're pretty much telling you what to expect, but so that in a way they're like getting us to think certain ways, but
Stabbing him won't
is
work. Shooting him won't work.
and it's like,
Basically, you have
should
to
we listen to it or
cryogenically
not? But
freeze his head, or blow him up. Yeah.
yeah, but it's like I guess the point I'm getting at is, should we always listen to what he says directly, or is that a way to get the audience off of the like actual track here? But it's like, I don't know. I think considering it, but not taking it as gospel. Like it's
Mhm.
you got to have it in your head, but don't rely on it. But
Yeah, like,
because they it's
anybody
like the
main
if
character can die,
it,
yeah.
I know that you know that I know that you know it, kind of a thing,
Mhm.
which is like what it starts to kind of be.
And so
And then
with
the answer,
knowing all of that, and that I know it, you know it, you know it, I know it sort of thing,
yeah,
will play on, that, that expectation of just like, okay, so what can so this really is unpredictable. So we are just here for the ride,
yeah,
and
we
it's
like
the
went
tough.
in a circle to like originality in a weird way
Mhm.
with this, and
Yeah,
and
yeah, just like a subversion, but not a subversion, but it makes you think it's a subversion. Like things are, it's like they did this three times. So like you think it's going to be the killer, and the boyfriend's going to be the killer in the first one, but it turns out, oh, maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. No, it actually is. Like we
yeah,
trick you, and then the second one was, oh, characters who you love are going to die, so that sets up stakes, but also the people that you, with that person who dies, with Randy who dies. What's interesting is that he predicts the killers in that, but you think like, but he throws out other names as well to like kind of throw you off. But he
hmm
still
he
predicts
predicted,
everything, especially the Pamela Voorhees thing, like
yes,
where it's the mother, where like they tell you what it is, but
yeah,
you don't immediately connect that, which is
right.
quite interesting.
It would see,
And
because he talks about movies in general often, like from the first one and the second one. It's like that's just him doing movie talk, and they had a whole scene in the beginning of the second film where they're talking about movies. So it's like it's just an extension of that, pretty much. It's what you might think, but it's like
mhm.
no, yeah, he gave subtle hints.
Yeah, and subtle clues to the audience, not just Dewey, but like the
Yeah,
actual audience that is
for
being
us to
touched.
chew on in the back of our head a little
Yeah, and
with
then
that.
in this one, what do you think it is with this one?
With this one, well, I mean, especially when he said that when you discover the third ones, when you go in and you discover something that you thought you knew turns out to not entirely be true, and like Sydney getting the information wrong about who the killer is. Well, it's like the killers told her that they did it, and it's like from her perspective, that's who did it then, and they obviously tried to kill her and had this whole plan, and they're psychopaths, but they just told you don't know. And so I don't know, that left a good room for there being something different without totally retconning anything. It was
Just
done well.
rewatching Scream 3 for the first time in a very long time. I feel bad because a lot of people put this movie at the very bottom. Like
Well,
this is the worst of all of them.
no, really? Wow. Well, I mean, do you mean worse by it's actually so bad, or worse as in it's the least best?
The least best.
Okay, because
because
that's
all
not
of
as
these
bad
movies
to
are
me. That because
great.
to me that's a positive connotation that it's in last place. Like if you have like a bunch of great movies, like if you had Lord of the Rings trilogy times three, like you had nine
Mhm.
Lord of the Rings films of that quality, it'd be like okay, well, you put one of them on bottom. It's like well, or even with the Lord of the Rings trilogy, it's like having one be the third place doesn't mean it's bad. It's like well, it's
Yeah,
competing with
yeah,
other two amazing
mhm,
things for different reasons. Like wow,
yeah. And you could mix and match all of those. Like you could have Return of the King at the bottom because it's too long and it becomes boring after a while, or you could have the Two Towers because it's like the middle chapter that is also, drags on, or you could have Fellowship because the theatrical version is way like it takes a long time to establish things, and it's like
yeah,
okay, let's get on with it. You can have so many different opinions, with
yeah.
that, but inevitably like what you the conclusion is that all of these are excellent movies, and especially
Yeah,
with Wes Craven at the helm, in the director's seat. And that is what makes these movies so great, is that he is such a visionary, and that's why he is so missed with the later films like Scream 5, and I'm
yeah.
sure in Scream 6 as well.
Well,
uh, and I I think that I would be very curious as to what you think about 4 and 5 and even 6, because it can be one of those things where it's like, well, George Lucas sold, you know, Lucasfilm, and
right,
then what do
where
you
it's
think about?
different, where it's different creators continuing the franchise essentially.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Where he's, like people like myself, like I think, my ranking, it was 1, 2, 4, 5, and 3, but maybe 5 is the worst now
I
because
don't know. I don't know. See, this is fun
yeah,
watching these and watching them with you, who's like really likes this stuff in
yeah, yeah,
general and horror films in general. Like
yeah,
this is actually weird for me, Justin. So you'll be kind of happy to hear this. So like, yeah, last year I watched a good portion
yeah.
of horror films. I watched like a good 20 or so horror films, and I only liked a few of them really. And the year before that, I watched The Thing, and I fucking love The Thing. That is my number one horror film. And the um, They Live is like my second one. I would say was
Mhm.
there. Scream franchise is coming into that top five area right now. I've got to think more on some of the other ones that I watched, but I'm liking this. But it's hard for me to judge it as the individual films because right, just watching these three back to back to back so far, I'm seeing it all as like one kind of continuous story here, like a big old movie essentially, like a
Yeah,
story
yeah.
threads that connect to each other.
Individually, you will pick apart its flaws. Like this movie, like the kills were not as brutal, obviously.
Which I
Uh,
think it's actually fine. I don't think they need to be more brutal, but I liked that that was a point that he pointed out in that one. He's like, second sequel's always a little more brutal killings, of course. You had step it up a little, and it's like this
More
one is a little
blood,
more
more
reserved.
gore, which is the second film, and then like this one is like more about story and more about, I always
Uh,
say story. Like I noticed that I keep saying that.
yeah,
That's what it's about. It's about revelations. It's about the arcs and the conclusion versus the kills, which is something that you can actually, you know which is probably a blessing in disguise, because the reason why this movie was toned down with the violence and up the goofiness, like we laughed more in this
yeah,
one than the last one, for sure. Like the most laughs that we got were probably like from the camera guys
yes,
comments.
pretty much.
Whereas in this one, it was just like everything was like goofy
There's a
and
lot of
funny.
funnier character moments and stuff, and the Jennifer like shadowing Gail. She pretty much shadows her for the rest of the movie. Like doesn't
Yeah,
really leave her side that much. He's really trying to be next to her. Like I don't want to die, so I'm gonna
it's
be
just
next
like,
to you.
you know what, I'm gonna be with her. Yeah, I'm gonna be with
Hopefully
Courtney
they'll kill
Cox
you
right now.
instead of me.
Yeah, yeah. It's like
Yeah,
I'm gonna be with you, Gail Weathers, because I want to get into character. Even though the movie's canceled, I'm still gonna get into character because
Yes.
you have to think about it this way. This is the only returning actress from the other Stab movies.
Yes.
You know, like,
But also she was integral to this plot too, oddly
yeah,
enough. Jennifer,
yeah,
because she
yeah,
she
like,
was with Gail, and where Gail was failing to get specific information and stuff, the fake Gail was like, here's how you do it, and was like doing
in
what Gail's
Hollywood,
doing and then amplifying it more dramatic or something like
like, you may
two
be
thousand
great
dollar
at this
ring.
in real life, but to get around the Hollywood system, you need this. You need this.
Yes,
Like, come on, seriously? Like, will you work for the president? $50? Like, seriously?
yeah,
Seriously? No. And here's my fucking ring. Boom, worth 2K.
yes,
All right, Princess Leia, let's
yeah.
go.
Go find me that file. But
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I think too.
exactly.
I think having the director be like her brother essentially, that's like jealous and does this. I mean, like orchestrates the whole thing, a new context for the first film, and
Yeah,
the
and,
surprise, his shock for how the second one went. He's like, wow, okay, I didn't. He's like, I just wanted him to kill your mom. I did not expect all that stuff to happen. But he's like, all in the mindset of like, I'm a director, and so like. We watched Killjoy
I didn't
Jake's
want him
fan
to make a
film.
movie, like,
Well,
necessarily. They mostly talked about the first film. They didn't really, like, he didn't really talk about anything that happened in the second one. That was just like, okay, collateral damage.
right. But I mean, I'm getting at like, so with Killjoy Jake's fan film that we watched before I watched Scream 1 again, I was a little confused on why there's such an emphasis on them trying to make a movie about stuff. I wasn't sure
Mhm.
if that was just a creative choice that Killjoy Jake was going with. But watching these again, I mean, movies are the entire integral point of the movies, which is
Mhm.
weird sentence for me to say, but that is what motivates a lot of characters. That's what points them in certain directions or makes them think about doing certain actions in their real situation that they're dealing with. So I just find that interesting a little. This is a movie, again, a self-aware movie that's actually entertaining at the same time. I'm shocked.
You were
All this
shocked at how good it is.
all the
Yeah.
self-aware content we see these days, Justin, is dog shit. Like it's
Yeah,
you
because
know,
it's like,
I
hey
watched I
guys,
watched
we're
Velma,
self
Justin.
aware.
I
Ha ha
watched
ha.
I watched Velma, Justin. They
You
just
watched
go
all of it?
well, not the last two episodes, thank God. I've been able to skirt those. Angus wanted us to watch that and then give our
You watched
commentary.
more than 2 episodes. Oh my
I watched most
god.
of that thing, man. It is torture. They're just like they just reference other things. Oh my gosh, all these little girls in the movies get killed anyway. The first shots in movies are just whatever it's referencing is bullshit. And then She-Hulk. Oh my god, I watched that show too. The cringe of everything, and I'm just like, any
Do
references
that to
from
yourself,
anything,
dude.
any meta things are so dumb. And then it's like in this, it's like done in such a way with characters and plot and entertaining too, and just like I'm not bugged by it. I like this. This is a rewatchable franchise for me. I can't believe it for a horror film that's like not based on just like
Yeah.
gore and like trying to entirely be scary. It's like it's just a good, I don't know, it's a good focus one.
Mm-hmm.
It's one where you can think but you can also sit back and relax and you're fine either way. It's not one that's like, you're just like, oh god, oh what's gonna happen next? Is what
Yeah.
gimmick is gonna happen next? It's just like, I don't know. They're talking constantly in the whole movie. Oddly enough, there's like barely quiet scenes, but I'm not. It's not an overload of information either. I don't know.
The
It's good.
quiet scenes are mostly with Sydney with the lack of dialogue.
Usually, yeah. And I
Yeah.
like her. I like her slow development. She doesn't just jump from the first one being the victim to then being I'm super strong and I can handle myself. She's a little bit better placed, a little more confident, but she's not fully there. She was at the edge of breaking having this happen
Mhm.
again to her, but still kept it together in the end and was saved. And in this one was, in a way, she put it kind of the hero at the end, but not in an arbitrary way. It made sense, all the decisions that she was making and thought through. Like she brought the gun, she brought the vest and everything too. That was like thinking like that, making decisions that we would
Yeah.
want them to make so that they're not stupid. Like, oh, you just went in there and what'd you expect
You
to
thought that
happen?
she just
Like,
brought one gun? She's like, no, like I'll bring two guns because this one only has six, and I'll throw it
yeah,
in the pool.
hmm
I would have thought that Roman would have taken the gun from the pool.
yeah, maybe.
Yeah, that's the only like plot thing that I'm. But then he would have gotten wet and stuff.
Yeah, let's say he's with his cloak. I don't know about that. Who knows?
Yeah, it's
He'd
like
be
when
all
he wants to
squeaky
be.
trying to get in the house and
But then why didn't like
slippery.
and then Dewey and Gail probably didn't want to go scuba diving for it because
Yeah, well, they're still trying to get untied and trying to figure out what's going on. The other guy got stabbed. Like a lot of things were happening too to make that kind of.
there is one thing that I feel like like I know you are viewing it as a whole, and as a whole that you really enjoy it, and that's why I really admire your perspective as a new viewer, and that's why I feel like I am so blessed to be able to sit with you and watch this movie, like, and watch these last couple of movies with you, because I knew you would enjoy it, and for a long time you were a naysayer, like, I don't know. It's just like, well,
Yes.
here's the thing, smart man. These movies are great, and I've been telling you this for years. How long have we known each other, and how long have I been telling you to watch this?
Pretty early on.
Yeah, and you're like, save it for a rainy day. I'm like,
Yeah, I guess maybe it's just the slight impressions I got. I just didn't, watching it through though, man. Yeah, these are fucking great.
I
Sometimes movies are overhyped, and that
yeah.
just and then it leads to disappointment, and it's like, why the fuck is this so well liked? But no, this one's good. It's good
Yeah,
shit.
Scream 3, like, okay, so far with Scream 1, 2, and 3 individually, like, as I know you're viewing it fresh and as a whole, which of these movies are like, how would you rank it so far with Scream 2, Scream 3 as an experience individually, if you could separate that, or is it too fresh?
It might be too fresh. I mean, honestly, as we're talking, I'm seeing it all as one big movie. Like in my
It's
head,
all
it's like
one
it's
great
one
big movie,
e-
Sydney.
each film
But
each film each
before he seduces her.
each film it takes what the other one did, and it does it, and it just in it doesn't improve, but it increases. Like it's you're at 1 2 and now you're at 3. All these things, the amount of information that is more because there's more movie, more time, more screen time, whatever. So it's tough to say right now. I think I enjoyed the third one the most. Like I said, we were laughing quite a bit through it. Every time in each of these movies, whenever they pull out the knife on screen, you hear a shink, shink, and I wish there's a counter for it because it's just like he's pulling it out of like cloth. And you hear the shink noise every time. I just find that funny as a little thing.
Mostly in this movie, yeah.
Mostly in this one though, there's so many of that. Like literally, he just moves it. And it's like shink. But man, judging the quality on these one, that's really tough because I feel like I thought the first one, I liked the first one, but I wouldn't call it a favorite of the three so far. No, I like it. I enjoy the kind of twisted, messed up aspect of it, where it's like the boyfriend that she's dating, and her, it's been a year since her mother died, and she gives up her, virginity to him right before realizing that he's a killer, and she sees him and Shaggy like stab each other to make it look like she and the dad were attacking each other or
Yeah, and
something.
why
It's
would you
like
do that right
fucking.
in front of her instead of killing her and
Yeah,
then
I was
doing
about to say. I think you could have killed her first, but I guess it's they wanted her reaction. I guess I don't know, but like that. So that I thought that was always interesting, a little. And she doesn't just go down and that's it. She does try to fight them. Try to survive. It's not not the total helplessness. She gives it a try to kill them or do something. She does kill them. So yeah, I mean I don't know. And then she shoots him in the head in the first one, which was like, oh shit, all right, growing some
Hmm.
more balls already. And then second one comes around, and her character growth again. It wasn't. She's growing so steadily. This is why this is really hard for me to judge this, because this is all one big movie: a first act, second act, and third act. I just saw the third act, and it feels like a complete trilogy now. Like this feels like a solid. All the little things are wrapped up and it's over, kind of a thing. And at the
And
end, like
now,
at the end of the third one, I liked how
mhm.
the door opened, wind, you could say, where they were, but it's like you think she'd be paranoid and want to close it or be looking around, suspicious, whatever. Just ignores it, which is like without words telling us like she's not going to let this ruin her life. She's not going to be super paranoid forever
Mhm.
and whatnot. So I enjoyed that a little bit. It's like
At
okay,
the very end.
yeah, at the very end of the third one, before it cuts to the credits.
Um, why is the cop there?
That was something I wondered. I was like, are they friends now? That was odd.
As I get older, like there are different characters that I relate to. What I said in the last video was that when I was younger, Randy was the guy for me because I was always like stuck up and just and still am, and I'm still an asshole in some way, But I would always like try to be right all the time, and when I was younger, and nobody could tell me otherwise. But then as I got older, Dewey, I tended to relate to more because of how I've grown and matured, and I've realized that like I need to. It's basically how I viewed the movies. I viewed the movies one way, the commentary stuff and the funny stuff, and the more adult way is the way I view Dewey, and relationships, and how you go about dealing with with different situations and consequences, and realizing different things about yourself. And that's what these movies speak to me. At least these three movies, as we're watching it, and we're gonna watch 4 and 5, and I'm curious as to how that impacts me in a way. But at least with this trilogy, this is why this was a trilogy for the longest time. You see
what's
what
the what's the year? What's the difference between the third one and the fourth release? When did the
11
third one?
years.
11-year difference. Okay,
11,
wow.
11 years, but Scream 4 was made by the same people, but 11 years attached.
Okay,
11, 10
yeah.
years attached,
See,
yeah.
now going into that one, like I'm trying to already try to assume what it is. I've heard nothing about Scream 4. I don't remember anyone talking about it. I don't remember any. I have no details for it. So it's like, okay, we did the whole mother story here. We did this, Sydney, everything. There's a huge amount of time in between the films. Here, I imagine, yeah, they'll have multiple stab movies in the Scream universe at this point, for sure. But I don't know where it's gonna go exactly.
Don't say
So
anything, guys, in the chat.
I I don't know where this is going. By the time you guys see this, I will have seen Scream 4, but
Yeah.
that's okay. That's okay. At the moment, yeah,
Okay,
I'm
so spoil it in the
not sure
comments.
where it would go. Yeah, spoilers in the comment. Yeah, I'm
Not Scream 6, though. Don't do that.
trying to guess what even could be, and it's like so we got our couple from the beginning here. We got Gail and we got I was gonna say Stu, but not Dewey, and we got Sydney, of course. And there's this
Gail
cop guy that
Weathers.
survived. Well, I said Gail,
Yeah.
and we got the cop guy that survived this, but I don't really think he'd be involved anymore. We wrapped up the majority of the Sydney specifics, but there could still be people that are obsessed with this. But I don't know. I don't know what it'll be based on the sixth movie's trailer. I have no idea what the fuck like what what goes on with that exactly. And the fifth one, all I know is from what you and Fancino told me, where it's like, oh, it's the the whatever stab movie directed by Ryan Johnson, and the stuff with that, and that's I don't actually remember you guys talking about what happens in the movie. So
We tried to be very careful about that.
yeah, I don't know. So I'm going into number 4 fresh. So at the time that we're recording this, it's pretty late, and I'll be, but we'll have some. We'll to pretty much take a nap break and then watch 4 and 5 before he watches number 6, and I'll watch number 6 sometime this weekend. But yeah, so that's I guess that wraps this one up.
All right.
Yeah, all right.
I look forward to it.